coming days, Josh kept himself hidden in Mark's apartment, and his friend managed to work out some time off from his job with his boss. They both were sure Ra would be looking for the both of them, which made going outside a risk as long as they had no better idea for hiding. Dragging himself into the kitchen, Josh found his friend bent over a book. More were lying on the table and ground. The PC, too, was open. Hearing the angel's slinking steps, Mark turned on his chair. Seeing the pain in Josh's eyes, the man got up to help him to the other chair. "He got you this time," Mark remarked. "Yeah. He was hell-bent on taking me with him." After a moment he asked, "What are you doing with all these books?" "Well, I don't know how valid this stuff is. Most magical books are made up. But I thought I might give it a try." Taking one of the books, Josh started to read. "This one looks valid. The Seal of Solomon has been used often in the past. I know another one too. It looks like a star, but drawn with one line." "You mean a pentagram?" Mark typed on his PC and turned the screen towards his friend. "Yeah, exactly. It's warding off demons and other hostile entities." "I have another idea," Mark continued. "The Eye of Horus is said to protect you. It's Egyptian magic. If we use that, Ra might overlook us even more due to the familiarity of the magic." "That could work. But how get the symbols?" His friend got up and left the kitchen. When he came back, he held a CD marker in his hand and pencils and paper in the other. "We've got to get creative, because I am no tattoo studio." After drawing the pentacle onto each other's arms, they both started to fill blank sheets of paper with various symbols for protection and hiding. Mark pinned those drawings everywhere in the apartment, building up an invisible barrier that let Josh feel safer at once. It was working, even if his friend was in no way gifted with occult abilities. He only hoped that their makeshift barrier was strong enough against Ra. The angel kept wasting his time by sitting at the table. "I cannot imagine," his friend started after hours of silent company, "what it must be like to be powerless all of a sudden. If I could just understand. Is it punishment for me abandoning my place, I wonder?" "No," Mark said very firmly. Josh had seldom heard that kind of tone from his friend. The man was certain of the truth of his opinion. "Things happen for a reason, but that doesn't mean they are punishments intended to harm you." His friend might have a point. Perhaps his loss was a result of his transformation. They might come back if he abandoned his humanity, but something inside of the angel rebelled against that solution. He didn't want to go back to being an emotionless tool. He wanted to keep his friendship, wanted to keep feeling the love that sprang from it. "I can't fight Ra like this, and I don't want to go back the way I was, even if it might grant me my powers again," Josh uttered with despair tainting his voice. "There must be another way. You are still a seraphim, the power is still there. You just need to unlock it." "How?" "I don't know, Josh. I'm just a guy who stumbled upon an angel." The angel placed his head on the table as his mind remained empty. "You want to take a walk?" Mark asked, putting on his hoodie. "With Ra being on the lookout for us? We have the symbols, and we don't have to run around screaming," his friend uttered with a smile. Josh liked the idea of stretching his legs. His head was empty as it had been all day while he had desperately tried to find a way to regain his powers. The angel barely paid attention to his surroundings. He just followed Mark's lead through dark streets and turning alleys. "They repaired it," Mark said in a hushed voice, stopping amidst his walk. When Josh looked, he recognized the church next to which he had fallen to earth. He didn't know what drove him, but he approached the grassy area where he had struck the ground. Kneeling down, he touched the still faintly scarred green. Thunder and lightning flashed in his soul upon making contact, causing him to draw back. Having noticed his friends flinching away, Mark came closer with a questioning look. Taking a deep breath, Josh approached again. The scorching sensation of fire coursed through his veins as the world around him vanished and was replaced by memory. He felt his heart ache like never before as he searched heaven for his father without orientation or destination. Michael had approached him, trying to calm down the upset seraphim, but Josh hadn't listened. The sudden sensation had cast him into turmoil. Afraid to be driven mad, he shattered the gates of heaven to descend to earth. But earth had been vast, and he had been once again, without orientation or destination. Circling over the lands described in the Old Testament, he had been attacked by a ball of fire. Physical pain joined the one inside his heart as he struggled to break free from the iron, merciless grip. Uncovering himself, he had managed to shake off the Egyptian god long enough to escape to another part of the world. And when his strength was leaving him, he couldn't remain in the sky but fell to earth. It came to Josh after remembering what had happened. "I dimmed myself. For you," he whispered to his friend. "Me. I chose to lock away my powers when I stepped away from divinity and towards humanity. I hid from the world. That's why Michael can't find me. He looks for seraphim's shine, for the divinity I locked away." Josh stood up and stared towards the sky where hundreds of stars twinkled. "If I want to keep my humanity, then I have to access my powers bound to my purity in another way." Mark remained silent for a minute before barely breathing the word. "How?" Josh looked his friend right into the eyes. "I don't know, but I have to defeat Ra." For the first time since the angel had met his friend, Mark shifted uncomfortably under the burning gaze. "You mean to kill him?" "He's a demon, Mark," Josh uttered harsher than intended. "That doesn't make it right," his friend countered with until that point unknown stubbornness. "You want to keep your humanity, start with compassion. Everyone deserves to live. Only God decides our fates." The firm statement let Josh's heart falter for a moment. His friend was right. Murder, even amongst angels, was wrong. Lucifer had proven that in his rebellion when even he had refused to kill. "He won't stop haunting us. If you wield your power again, then you can defeat him without killing. He won't come back when he sees that he can't win." The angel pondered his friend's words before answering. "It's worth a try," he uttered, still not convinced. But Mark was right. If he wanted to be human, he had to act with humanity. Seeing his friend's longing gaze towards the stony building, Josh added, "Do you want to go inside?" "It's locked at night." Josh smirked. "But that's no problem for an angel, my friend." Approaching the large wooden doors, one of them swung open with a wave of his hand. Mark showed nothing, but the angel felt how the atmosphere from inside eased his friend. He was still very vulnerable in his mind, and that place somehow gave him strength. They entered together, and each candle Josh passed received fire. The windows, made of stained glass, portrayed various Christian themes involving angels and Jesus himself. The many candles on the altar came to life when Mark sat down on one of the wooden banks. The statue of Jesus, nailed to the cross, looked down on the altar with the usual suffering expression. Behind, the organ was hidden by more statues seemingly carved into the stone. Angels and apostles stood separated by wooden beams partly painted in gold. "Were you there?" Mark suddenly asked, his voice echoing through the whole church. "When he was crucified, did you see it?" "I heard about my father's grief about it, but I did not see his son die." Seraphim are only concerned with guarding the throne of heaven. I see. Thinking about it now, though, I am shocked by the betrayal of his closest friend. Josh sat down next to his friend. Without that betrayal, Jesus wouldn't have sacrificed himself. Without the betrayal, he wouldn't have been able to go back to heaven and leave Earth. People always judge Judas, saying he's evil, possessed, or greedy. I think he had a part to play, Mark explained without any anger or sorrow. So you don't think he was evil? I think he was aware of the betrayal and that the ends do not justify the means. But his loyalty to Jesus, to his friend, was stronger than his own moral code. Jesus told him what had to happen because he trusted Judas. A trust that wasn't reasonless, as we now all know. Mark smiled slightly as if he was embarrassed about his wise-sounding words. But I always wondered, he quickly continued, did he go to hell? I am a seraphim, Mark. I am ignorant of the fates of your souls. You'll have to ask Lucifer or Michael about such things. Lucifer, the king of the bottomless pit. His human friend shuddered visibly at the thought about asking the devil. Now it was Josh who spoke words of wisdom. He is in charge of the damned. He's your stepping stone in life. That doesn't mean he's pure evil. He's the tempter aiming to drag us to hell. He is a necessary part of the world. Without sinful temptation, there can be no pure faith. Not that different from Judas, then, Mark muttered. I guess not. They both remained silent, and Josh couldn't help but be intrigued by Judas' sacrifice and deep friendship. He glanced at the human next to him. Mark was such a loyal friend, and the seraphim would protect him even if it would cost him his own life. A blinding light from behind ripped the two friends out of their dreams and worries. Josh's stomach sank at once. He knew what was going on. It was instinct. While his friend was still trying to come out of his shock, Josh was already on his feet and running towards the doors. Stopping right in front of the threshold, he saw Ra standing there in all his prideful glory. Did you really think your puny attempts to conceal yourself would work on me? He asked in an icy voice full of triumph. Ah, and your human is still following, I see. The god kept taunting. Josh wondered for a moment why he didn't just attack, and then it hit him. Ra was a fallen. He couldn't enter the church without discomfort due to his tainted purity. The angel felt himself grow rigid in the face of his foe. Ra's eyes showed a faint, gleeful glow as he saw Josh's grim expression. There was no running this time, no way around. The old god would wait until Josh would exit and then pounce on his prey. The angel closed his eyes for a short moment, but no matter how deep he reached inside his soul, the angelic powers which would grant him victory remained out of reach. He needed more time to figure it out. Time fate had denied him, but he would be damned if he sacrificed his friend to escape. No, he would rather die than do this to Mark.